All right, looks like we are live now. Hi, my name is Eric Thompson. I'm with the Regional District of Okanagan-Similkameen Emergency Operations Center, and this is our live video briefing for August 8th, 2026. We're starting this broadcast at 9 Pacific time. So it was a very long night for a lot of people in Summerland and in the rural area around Summerland, the Regional District Electoral Area F. And at around, I think it was about 12:30 or 1, an additional evacuation order was put in place for all of Summerland, which is where I live. So I had to leave abruptly to get family and head south. Luckily, we were able to stay with some family friends. So what we're going to do today is we're going to stay live on YouTube throughout the day. Every once in a while, I will have to step out to go to an EOC briefing to get more information. But if any new information is available, we'll have it here right away. We have some people working behind the scenes, including representatives from the city of Penticton who are helping out. And there are a couple of key locations where you will be able to get information. And I'll give those to you in just a moment. So with this stream, we've been able to use the chat, which has been really helpful. We're going to remind you as well to keep it as polite as you can. Certainly not a place to editorialize on what might have caused the fire or what's going on overseas or anything like that. So we really ask you to be respectful of the process. The fact that there are a lot of people, more than 12,000 people who are out of their homes. They're looking for information. They want to know how they can get support. They want to know what it's looking like in their town, when they might be able to get back, or in their community, their neighborhood. We'll get as much information as we can when it becomes available. In just a few moments, we'll be speaking with Graham Statt. Graham is the CAO, the Chief Administrative Officer with the District of Summerland, and he has been in the EOC for a long time, and he's also very well versed at this type of work. He is an incredible leader. I heard him earlier talking to people, and he had some really good information to share with people about the idea that the community is looking to people in the Emergency Operations Center, but also in the field, firefighters, first responders, volunteers, to provide guidance, to provide support. And it's really important that we all stay strong. If you're in the community and you have a family, you know what I mean. You have to stay strong for your family. And that's what all of these people, I'll keep referencing out there. It's just outside of my window in my office, the Emergency Operations Center for this region. I want to also acknowledge Penticton Indian Band, Simpington Indian Band. This fire is burning just north of PIB lands. And certainly our thoughts are with people in those communities as we watch where this fire is going to go. I'll give you a couple of key links here, and throughout this conversation, I will post some of these links in the chat so that you have them directly. One of them I'm going to get right now is the information page for BC Wildfire Service. So BC Wildfire, certainly we can't speak on their behalf, but what I will be doing is referencing the web page for public information. If you're not able to access it, I can give you the latest information that I'm reading that you can also access through BC Wildfire. Now I'm going to paste it here, and invite you to take a look if you'd like. So throughout the day today, information will be coming in fast at times, slow other times, but any new information that's available that we can share with you, that I can share with you, any of the people who will be joining me, we'll let you know as soon as we know. So there are some big questions for people. Family reunification is one of them. So last night on the 7th of August, when people had to leave quickly, there were family members who maybe were out of the area or had to go one direction, somebody else went the other way. So it's a bit of a challenge, and I don't have an easy answer on how we can connect you with family members if you can't seem to find them. But certainly that's part of having a preparedness plan, is how do you communicate if something happens? Where do you go? Do you have a meeting place? And what's the plan? And that's easier said than done. I sat yesterday and talked about this for several hours, and all of a sudden I had to put it into action. And I can tell you, it was challenging. I had to go into my house and look at the things that I thought I couldn't live without and that I needed to take. And then I also realized, but I had prepared some other items that, like a grab and go bag. And you just don't know when you're in the middle of it. You're not thinking as clearly as you'd like to. So this is a reminder for anyone who's watching this who potentially could go through that one day is preparedness is the key. And I'd like to think I was fairly prepared, but I think we can always do better. As I mentioned, in just a moment, we'll have Graham Statt here. He is the CAO with the District of Summerland, and Graham will provide some information on what's ahead, because right now, this is still very fresh. We know that there's been some big challenges in the district of Summerland, in the town itself, but then also in some of the more rural areas as well, which is the regional district of Okanagan-Similkameen. So specifics on damages and dates of return home and access and those types of things will be coming, but it's not available right now because the assessments are still being done. I did mention Highway 97. We understand it is closed, and assessments will be done on that to make sure that that can be opened as quickly as possible. Just a reminder for anyone who is watching is patience is the key. Anyone you're interacting with, whether they're volunteers or flaggers or someone at a store, doesn't matter. It's always important to take that second breath and realize that maybe you're stressed out. Maybe we need to be as kind as we can with each other. If you do need mental health support, it is available. And yesterday I had talked a bit about that. I'm going to find a better link than I had yesterday to a phone number. There's one that's online if you Google mental health support British Columbia. Sometimes you just need someone to talk to, and we don't ever want to overlook that part of it in a wildfire like this, in a growing situation. So I guess the next thing I can share with you then is that, first of all, we're talking, of course, about the Bald Range wildfire. It's K51490, and that's important because you'll need to know that if you're looking on BC Wildfire's website, and I put that post in there. And Graham's going to be with us in about 2 minutes. Someone's asking about ESS volunteers. Are there enough volunteers? Right now, what we're asking people to do is, if you would like to volunteer, now ESS has trained volunteers that are part of the program. So if you want to volunteer in another way, we invite you to call that number there, 250-490-4225. They'll take your name and information down and get back to you. So Graham's going to join us now. Again, Graham is the Chief Administrative Officer with the District of Summerland. He's been here through the night. And I shared with them, Graham, that it's really difficult to provide details and answers on reentry and damages and those kinds of things. You had mentioned something to me last night, which is really important, that we're in this for the long run now. We have to look at the bigger picture, that it may take days for people to get home.
That's right. Complex event, challenging situation. And when you have an event of this size and magnitude, you have unknown hazards in the community, you have power lines down, you have water that's not potable, and other things that we don't even know about yet. So we have to make sure buildings are safe, we have to make sure infrastructure is safe, roads are safe, and guide people at the right times for reentry.
Okay, and so that process, for all intents and purposes, this fire is still being fought by BC Wildfire and all the fire departments that are helping out. But are assessments underway right now where it's safe?
So we're going to have a task team that starts to get on the damage assessment. We're in the stage which I call sort of the fog of war, which is a little bit of information, active response. That's we're focusing right now, which is where our focus should be. As the information becomes more clear and as we can get in there ourselves for further assessments, we'll begin those damage assessments. And we'll talk about what it looks like for timing of reentry.
Some areas that were not impacted by the wildfire, and we would hope, and it looks like the fire's not heading that direction, people still can't go home because there are challenges, as you mentioned, with water safety, water quality, and no water available, and power.
Well, we have water available because firefighters are using it. So that's really important. Our water pressures have remained high, but what we don't have is potable water. We also have possibly unknown contaminations that could enter the water system because of maybe fire retardant that ends in the creek or things like that as the fire burns. Also, like I say, hazards where, we don't even have power in the community right now. We're going to try to start to put power back on where it's appropriate and working with first responders. But until we can get power and water and ensure that, key roads and access areas are safe, we're going to have to work in tandem, and it might take longer than people are hoping for.
You've seen this type of thing before in previous jobs that you've been involved in. The biggest challenge is that unknown. People don't know how long they'll be out. They don't know what's happening in their town. What can you tell people to reassure them on that process and how it's going to play out? I know that's a tough question. I have been involved with things before, the Slave Lake fires in Alberta, the 2013 floods, the epic floods in southern Alberta, including flooding downtown Calgary, the 2016 Fort McMurray wildfire, which also destroyed 2,500 homes actually.
And I was the incident commander for some time, well, 3 waves of the COVID-19 pandemic in Alberta. And there's a lot of unknowns. And that's why I'm just saying to people, we ourselves are still learning every moment what the state of play is. We just ask for people's patience. And what we're going to try to do is communicate as effectively as we can in real time those updates that really matter.
Yeah. I'll leave it there. Thank you very much. And
Thank
please
you.
come back a little bit later on if
I
you have
will
a
do.
moment. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Eric.
That's Graham Stad. Graham is the CAO, the Chief Administrative Officer with the District of Summerland. I've got a lot of respect for him. He is a great person to be helping lead this, along with the EOC Director here at the RDOS, Deborah Jones-Middleton, the CAO from the District of Summerland, or excuse me, from the Regional District of Okanagan-Similkameen, Jim Zafino, is here, and it really is an all hands on deck. A lot of people here working to make sure that this process goes as smoothly as could be expected. People are asking questions online, so I'll try my best to respond and when I can, but someone asked if the city has burned down. No, the city is not burned down, but the actual damage assessment on exactly what has been damaged and the extent of it is underway right now. So that's a lengthy process. And someone said, thanks for coming back online. Absolutely. I feel like this is, in local government, this is probably the best way to get information out in real time. It's important that people go to the RDOS website to get more information. And I'm going to be, I believe in our, in the description for this live broadcast, there are some links in there that you can use, and I'll post some of them a little bit on. You know, it's a really difficult time and very strange for me because I'm closely connected to it now that I'm an evacuee. I'm on evacuation order. And, you know, I've been speaking with people who are involved in emergency management. Talking about an evacuee makes it sound like you're a victim. You know, we're not victims. We can take control of the situation. We're just in a situation that we don't have a lot of control over. And I think, as Graham mentioned earlier, there are a lot of unknowns, and patience is going to be the key. We've got the phone number that I mentioned for information, and it's right behind me there, 250-490-4225. Sometimes you just need someone to talk to just answer a question, you know, where can I get ESS support or whatever that may be. Right now, for emergency support services, I think it's really important to remember to pre-register if you haven't already. When you go online to ess.gov.bc.ca, I'll put that information in here. That's where you can pre-register, or register, I should say, for emergency support services. The reception center that's set up now is in Penticton, so it's just south of my location right now, south of Summerland by about 10 or 15 minutes, give or take. And it's at Power Street, 273 Power Street, I believe is the address. And it's basically the Penticton Trade and Convention Center. And that is where you can go in and talk to people, and you can also register in there if you're not able to do it online. Yeah, 273 Power Street. And let's see here, I'll put this link in here. Forgot to do that. So that's the ESS. So earlier, and I will be needing to step out now and again to go get more information, but I did hear earlier that Chilliwack and Seabird Island, those reception centers may be available to help people. So if you're wanting to get out of the area and heads to the coast, you can do that. And let's see here. We have a severe weather warning that has been received. That's for Penticton, and that it looks like it's until 5:23. Coming in this morning, I was south of here, and the skies right now are incredibly clouded. Well, it's smoky here. It's just it's like being on a different planet. It's actually quite strange, but it's an important reminder for anyone locally in this area to try and limit your exposure to that smoke. It can cause a lot of different challenges, as you probably know, and it makes people, I think, just a little bit stressed. So being calm, staying inside if you can, maybe go out to shopping center or wherever you can go to be inside and comfortable. Probably a really good idea to have some respite. Well, with that, I think I'm just going to pause for a moment. Kind of feel like a robot here, just talking endlessly, but what we want to do is keep the live stream going. It's an opportunity to remind you of what we know and don't know, remind you where you can get support, where you can get information, answer some of these questions online, and I do appreciate some of the feedback. Thank you very much. The weather alert in Penticton, that's for smoke, sorry. I should have clarified that. It's we understand right now there aren't the winds aren't strong. What we have right now is just this smoke warning. So it's very unpleasant. And again, I mentioned yesterday, I am the information officer, one of the information officers here at the RDOS. So my job is not only to provide public information and speak with the media and help coordinate, but to do other things as well, like coordinate with the EOC director. And so I will be actually working. You're kind of like you're in my office actually. So I'll be doing some work and communicating as well. So it won't be smooth like TV broadcast where we take a commercial break. I just sort of will have to walk out sometimes. We can share screen, and I really appreciate yesterday. I haven't used a lot of live YouTube in this way. We've done it in different ways, and usually it's a taped or a live segment where we can do different things through WebEx. But to use only YouTube is something new for us. But we did have some people yesterday share information with us. We were workshopping it in real time, and I really appreciate that feedback. So that feedback allowed me to do what I'm going to do right now, which is figure out the window. And there you see the window. So that's the Emergency Support Services webpage. You can register, you can get information, talks about preparing for an evacuation. Check your insurance policy is really important. One of the tips that came out yesterday, which I've heard before and was able to use last night, was if you believe you're going to be on an evacuation order, so for example, if you're under an evacuation alert, go through your house with your camera on your phone and record your house, your art, your furniture, whatever it may be, your grand piano. That will help when it comes time for insurance. So I was able to take that last night and use that information. So information for responders, for suppliers. So this is a really helpful website to keep in mind. Let's go now to another website that's really important. This is Emergency Info BC, and I haven't had a chance to talk to the people behind this, not only website, but the social media part of it, and they do excellent work. They keep an eye on any incident, emergency incident in this province, and if you go to their social media channels and their website, you'll find the latest information in almost real time. They're basically sharing it from the local sources, so it's a really good source of information, and I highly recommend that one. And that one I'll put in the chat as well, that link. And I believe, as far as I know, these links are working, which is great. Let's see, on your whiteboard or your blinds behind you, I suggest writing the website names, taping a piece of paper. Okay, I'll get on that. Yeah, what is this? Anyway, so one of the key pieces of information right back there is the phone number. Is 250-490-4225. But if you're watching this live stream and you're checking the comments, you'll see some of these key links. So I haven't really had time to do a lot, so I haven't had time to post a great background with a whole bunch of stuff. But I just want to clarify something that's really important. The RDOS has, some municipalities have the same thing, where we have our main website, which is rdos.bc.ca. And then we also have an Emergency Operations Center website, which is this one here, which is emergency.rdos.bc.ca. So it can be confusing. What I'd like to do is remind people to simply go to the RDOS website and you'll get all the links and information you need. The reason you'd want to go to this website is because of this interactive map, and that's where it lives. And it's a really important map because what it does is gives you the opportunity to go in and actually see exactly what areas are on order and alert, and you can zoom right in and find out if your property is impacted. And when things change, this map will be updated. So for example, that yellow section means those people are on an evacuation alert. And being on an evacuation alert, if you're not aware, means you need to get prepared to leave on short notice. And I can tell you that from experience, at about 12:30 or 1 this morning, when that happened to me, I was here working, so I had to go home and join my family, but luckily my wife was getting everything prepared. If you're in that situation right now, if you're in an evacuation alert, you might think it might not affect me. You just don't know. It's important to take that time to do the things that you need to do to get things in order. As I was saying earlier, videotape, record on your phone your interior of your house, get your insurance papers, all your key documents together. The grab and go bag is really important because you need to have items with you. You need to have clothing. You could be out of your house for a long period of time. And I can honestly say that I didn't grab as much as I would have hoped to for clothing, but I got the basics and I took a lot of other important things. So hindsight's always great, but when you're in the, when it's 1 a.m. and you're tired, you're not necessarily thinking straight. So taking that time now is really, really important. And someone's commented here, and I do understand that it can be challenging to set up the BC Services account. There is help available through that website if you do need help, but that's where the reception center can be helpful, even though it's really busy and you will need to be prepared to be patient. You go to the reception center if you're having challenges with some of the registration components of ESS. They should be able to help you there. And what I'm going to do a little bit later on, I'm going to take a pause and go to that board and change the emergency. Actually, you know what? Why don't we do that right now? I'll just change that because I'd rather that you go directly to the RDOS website, because I've talked with my colleagues here, and we've determined that it's going to be a lot easier to just send people there. So I don't know if you can see my cursor there. No, you can't. So on the screen here, on the left, you'll see hot topics. That's where the latest information releases and evacuation orders, alerts, rescinds, those type of things. A rescind is when it's changed back to a different category. That information will be posted there, the documents, because you'll want to be able to access the documents. On the right side under Take Action, we're going to have a link there shortly that will basically be to the EOC update. So all the things that are going to be coming out, we're going to be talking about issues with ESS or components of ESS, reception centers, changes to that, support, a lot of different things. I mentioned earlier livestock. So the that are changing and maybe numbers. We're going to probably get some numbers at some point on the number of properties impacted. We'll be putting that on that section, which hasn't been started just yet. And then as I mentioned, this will provide a link in here somewhere. We're going to set it up. I'm just trying to look in there for the interactive map that we talked about. And you see down there too on the right, Voyant Alert. So if you haven't signed up for Voyant Alert, the RDOS and the District of Summerland use Voyant Alert notifications. You can download the app, or you can set up your account online. And what it will do is give you an opportunity to put a pin. So for example, you could put a pin in Summerland where you live, and Penticton where you live, where you work or live, and maybe even on the coast somewhere if Voyant Alert is available. And then if an incident happens, you'll get notified. Now, there are critical notifications. You can't opt out of those. A critical notification allows, what it does is it basically is kind of like those Amber Alerts that you receive. You will get that if you're signed up, and it's going to be for an order or an alert, that kind of thing. There's informational alerts as well that are more general information. We're letting people know that there's a new reception center or something like that. So that's Voyant Alert, and I'll click on that right now. Give you a little bit of an idea of what that looks like. So if you go to that page, it gives you the links there for the App Store or Google Play and the registration link. That's a really important place if you haven't set up your account yet. I highly recommend it. Where were we going with that? Oh yeah, I'm going to go fix the map. That's what it was. So I appreciate this is small, and a little bit later on I'll try to make it bigger. But rdos.bc.ca, that's where we want to go. Just for the sake of right now, I'll just take it out, rdos.bc.ca. And, this kind of format is I appreciate, is pretty casual, and it's a bit freeform. But when I was in here last night, just after, I think it was 6:30, when I realized, and the team here realized what was happening, it was determined that there's so much information that's going to be moving around that we need to be able to share it in real time. And the media has done an excellent job on that. And often you'll watch a live news channel and they will end up getting somebody like me and say, well, we've got somebody from either the RDOS or from BC Wildfire who can shed some more light on that. And what we're doing in this particular case is kind of the opposite of that. We're going to just keep this channel open as a place to find information. And if we have something new, we'll come on and we'll talk about it. Try to provide some links as well, and then some interviews. We interviewed, if you've just joined us, we talked to the CAO of Summerland, Graham Statt. He provided some really helpful information and some key things for all of us to think about, and we'll try and bring him back a little bit later on as well. I won't have the opportunity to have somebody from BC Wildfire on here, but I know the media have been talking to BC Wildfire, and they've been doing an excellent job at getting those updates out. And that reminds me, actually, maybe we can look at doing that through our WebEx a little bit later on. But right now, this has been such a busy and fast-moving and dynamic situation that there's just a bulk of information, and things are changing so quickly. We're in a very strange phase right now because a lot happened last night, but this fire is still very active. Where it's going to go, how it evolves, how big, how small, all those issues are out there, and there's a lot of unknowns. So there is a lot of work going on right now to, where it's safe, start assessing situations. Graham Statt, CAO of Summerland, talked about the water system, power, infrastructure, all of those different things. So those challenges will dictate when people can come back to their homes. So an evacuation order might not mean that the fire is threatening your home. What the evacuation order might mean is that it's not safe for you to go home for other reasons. You might not have water, you might not have power. But as soon as it's safe to let people back in their homes, and believe me, I want to go back to my home as soon as I can, just to get in there and look around and pick up the things that I didn't take. That's a challenge, especially when you're talking about more than 12,000 people. There will be, over the next couple of days, many people who say, I've got to go home I left my cat there, or I left my medication. And because of the dangers that are in place right now, it might not be possible over the next couple of days. And that's going to be challenging. So I do, again, ask you to be patient when you're talking to whoever it is you're talking to about that, whether it's you're at the RDOS or somewhere else. Just understand that it's going to be challenging, and it's not, no one's trying to be difficult. It's just abundance of caution. So I'm seeing some comments here about Falder and Garnet Valley and some of those areas. You know, we've seen a lot of, I haven't seen a lot, but I know there's a lot out there, images and photos and videos. And it's really difficult in this forum here to talk about damages and things, because we don't have confirmation. And certainly what we don't want is for somebody to put in comment, certain house is gone or something bad has happened to somebody before they even hear it officially. And that's, I don't know what people think about that, but it's just important that you let the process take its course. There's probably a lot of people who've seen and heard things that I don't know about, and people here don't know about, but I think we just have to be sensitive to this forum and not further upsetting people and getting into conversations about why it started and that type of thing. It's going to get a bit challenging, but anyway. All right. Yeah, someone said, forget the medication, go to the pharmacy and get more. In some cases, that's going to be the case. You might just have to deal with that. The many years that I've been in the Emergency Operations Center, access is always very difficult. There are people who need to go back for various reasons, and sometimes it's just not safe and it's not easy to do. But as soon as there are opportunities for people to go back to their properties, even if it's just a short window, that will happen, but it's certainly, we're a little early on as well. Someone's asked if Blue Mountain is at risk. I don't know, and specific areas, really, BC Wildfire's website is the best place to go to get a better sense of what's happening with the fire, and some of the details I certainly wouldn't have available. So I'm going to go to that BC Wildfire website right now, just refresh my page to see where that's at size-wise. That fire. So it's as of 9:30 this morning. So this was just updated. 9,500 hectares. That's K51490. This wildfire that we're talking about, Bald Range. That's an incredibly large wildfire. And at one point, when it was first discovered on the page, just after 5:30 yesterday afternoon, and it was already at 50. And that's when I knew that this was a serious fire, because that's usually it's 0.9 or 0.5 or whatever it is, and it was already pretty big. So there's the BC Wildfire website if you're looking for information. I'm going to step out here in just a moment. As I mentioned, I will be doing a couple of media interviews, so I'll have to step out for that. One of them, I'm going to try and do it from here, so you can listen, which might be weird, but why not? And then what we're going to try and do is really invite media to watch this channel, and we'll try and get some interviews so they can at least get some of those interviews through this channel, rather than trying to break all the time to do one-off interviews, because that can be really challenging. Which reminds me, because I did speak with a reporter who's come up from the coast, who used to live in this area, who's doing an amazing job, and certainly we'll try and accommodate people the best we can. I'm going to take a short break now and just a quick pause. This channel will stay live, and we'll come back. I'll have a few more web links for you. I think what I'll do, maybe I'll leave it on. Oh, I was going to mention Court, the Central Okanagan. So just north of the regional district of Okanagan-Similkameen, which is on the outskirts of Summerland, is Peachland and the regional district of Central Okanagan, and there were some impacts in that area. So if you're looking for the latest information, if you're in that area, that electoral area, or the municipality of Peachland, and you're looking for info, that's a good place to start. The emergency program covers that region, and again, that is coemergency.ca. Comment here about donations. So right now, to the best of my knowledge, there is no need for specific donations. I mean, as far as items, clothing, water, anything like that. If you are looking to volunteer, if you want to phone 50490-4225, whoever takes your call will get your name and information down, and we'll start compiling a list of people who might want to help, because there are other things on there. I'm going to take a short break. I see I'm being flagged down, and I will be back in just a moment. Stand by. All right. Hello again. Thanks for your patience. As I mentioned during this live stream, I'm going to have to step out every few minutes or so. And thank you for the nice comments, by the way. I'm happy to be here. It is a little bit strange to be so closely connected to this incident because my house is under an evacuation order. And I wanted to let you know that the mayor of Summerland will be joining us at approximately 10:30 or so this morning, 10:30 Pacific time, depending on where you're watching. And if you're watching this recorded version, that would come up in about 45 minutes or so. I don't know why you'd want to do that, but you never know. Anyway, last night or early this morning, when I had to evacuate my home or leave home with my family and many of my neighbors, all of my neighbors pretty much, I tried to live stream on YouTube, or I did, because I thought it would be important to try to get as much information out as I could to let people know what was happening. And I was in a long line of traffic, and it was a bit surreal. And I stopped live streaming right away because I needed to focus on driving, and I was trying to sit my phone down beside me, and it's not a good thing to do. So I stopped live streaming. But I understand some of the media picked up the live stream, and I'm not. My mic is not going to plug in. Anyway, it was just a little bit troubling that got picked up because I don't know, it was almost like a quiet little moment. I thought it would come and go, but what I was trying to get across there was that one sec. I wanted to try to provide some assurance that even though it was a very chaotic situation and people were waiting in lines in the traffic and that type of thing, that we will get through this, and we did. People were very polite on the highway heading south to Penticton during the evacuation, the big evacuation order that ended up with the whole district of Summerland being on evacuation order. People were polite. There were some emergency vehicles that had to get through, so people had to pull over, and they were all being really respectful and polite, and so that was really good. Okay, let's see where we can go now. So we do have quite a few requests from media, and I don't know if any of the media are watching right now, but I would certainly invite them to try to watch this channel. With Mayor Doug Holmes from Summerland, who's also on evacuation order, it will be challenging for him to do multiple one-off interviews, so he will be here at approximately 10:30. So I would invite you to watch that. And it sounds like Mayor Holmes is going to be going live on Global right now. So I think with that, I'm going to pause. If any of you have access to TV and you want to watch that, I wouldn't want to interrupt what he has to say. And I do have to make a couple of quick phone calls and get a bit more information. Before I go for about a 5-minute break here, I'd like to remind you that the information you need about this wildfire you can find on the RDOS website. Again, that's rdos.bc.ca, and that's the one you see up right now. My colleagues over here are in the process of just adjusting this right now. So the banner that you see at the top right now where it says The Amazing Races, we're going to pause all those banners and just have the Emergency Operations Center banner up just in the short term for anybody coming to the website. We are certainly getting a lot of increased traffic on the website, and really hope it doesn't crash again. But anyway, you'll get information such as this one here that I'm going to click on at the top of Hot Topics. This was the latest update on the Bald Range wildfire, and these updates have links in them, and they also have some of the key information, phone numbers that you might need. So that is the RDOS website, and I'm going to copy and paste that and put it into the chat as well. And then again, I mentioned the interactive link, which is on our Emergency Operations Center page. We'll include a link on this page to that one. That's a really important one if you're trying to see where you're at with alerts and orders. And right now, I'm just going to head over there right now. The order, as you can see, is basically the district of Summerland, the entire town, and it is on an evacuation order, and that's a massive area. That's about 12,000 people, and then the outside area in yellow, that area is on an evacuation alert, and the boundary basically up along the edges of Summerland are the regional district of Okanagan-Similkameen, Electoral Area F. And I do want to mention the director for that area, Riley Gettins, who's been reaching out and offering support and help. And she's been updated on what's through the EOC here on what's been going on, and certainly trying time for her. A lot of inquiries from residents, and information is a premium, so there's not a lot that we can tell people at the moment, but we're certainly thinking of her and the council and mayor from Summerland as well. The difficulty in dealing with a situation this big, something that happens so fast, that is just made worse by not only the destruction of infrastructure and property that has occurred. And again, I don't have a good sense. I haven't been out to see it firsthand, but I certainly at some point hope to. But right now, because the entire area of Summerland is under evacuation order, it's not possible to get in there. But when you add in the heat that we experienced in this area, around 30 degrees yesterday, and not even I looked up the temperature today, and the smoke. There was just such a strange feeling yesterday when you walked outside, and when this fire broke out and I had to jump in my vehicle and head into this location here. I looked up at the sky and it looked like Armageddon. It was unbelievable, just the darkness and the heat and the smoke. And we've got a lot of smoke in this area today. I've just learned as well that Peach Fest, which is an annual event, and it's an amazing event here in the city of Penticton. Every year they provide free entertainment nightly and through the day as well. They have made the difficult decision to cancel Peach Fest for today. I believe that means right through the weekend, but I know certainly for today, what I've heard is that Peach Fest is canceled. And certainly that's that's sad for a lot of people. But with all that's going on, and with the weather conditions with this smoke, it's not ideal. People are asking how they can help if they live in Penticton. There's really not a lot that you can do other than I think helping your friends and relatives. If you know of somebody who needs a place to stay and you can help them, if they need help with their animals or other things like that you can bill at them, that could be really helpful. We're not from what I understand, the RDOS, the Emergency Operations Center, and the different responders involved in helping people are not looking for donations at this point. But what they would like to do is, I've been asked to ask you to call our main number here and just leave your name and number. Or you could even email, which would even be better than not tying the phone up. But we have an information line, or EOC info at rdos.bc.ca. That's for the information section where I'm working. And you can just leave your name and number, quick note about what you'd like to do as far as volunteering and helping, and someone may get a hold of you. Someone's asking about helicopters and flying and that type of thing. So certainly BC Wildfire, as the lead agency responsible for responding to this fire, along with the other partner organizations, would be able to speak to that. If you do go to the website, I do understand. Thank you again to Riley Gettins, has just mentioned that the Community Foundation of South Okanagan-Similkameen has set up a donation page. So that's good to know. I'll take a look for that link in just a moment. But anyway, if you're looking on the BC Wildfire website, and I'm going to bring that up right now, and you go to response, the response section talks about what's going on right now, and firefighting personnel, aviation, heavy equipment, that type of thing. So that's where you'll find that information, and I'm going to put that link in the chat as well. So anything to do with managing this fire is going to come from BC Wildfire, and it is challenging because, again, I've been involved in a lot of these where people will say, why didn't they do this, and why weren't those pieces of equipment involved? And it's really difficult to second guess people who are really good at doing this and make decisions based on a lot of different things that many of us wouldn't know about. So I think it's important to appreciate that the people who are tasked with responding to this fire are doing the very best job, and then some. And let's see. Okay, I think what I'm going to do now, any news on farms? I don't have, I'm just reading these comments in the chat here. I don't have any new information on specific properties. So what I can tell you now is that as soon as that information becomes available, because the assessments were so early into this incident that happened, it started yesterday, as you know, just after 5:30 p.m. on the 7th of August, so early into it, and the fire is still very active. They're doing these assessments of properties, and that type of thing can be very challenging. So at this point, I don't have any information that I could share with you specifically. And it says someone's asking about evacuees in Penticton. So the highway was closed last night on the 7th, and people weren't able to head north for the most part. So there may have been some people that went to a reception center that was set up in West Kelowna, but the majority of people went to Penticton, and there was an initial reception center set up at Eckhart Avenue, 550 Eckhart Avenue West, I believe it was, or East, I believe. Anyway, and then it just quickly got very, very busy, and then the evacuation orders were changing and increasing. So people were then asked to go to the convention center, the Penticton Trade and Convention Center at 273 Power Street. So a lot of people have gone there. Many others have just gone to stay with family and friends, which is what I've done. Lucky enough to have somebody south of here who was able to help out with our family and other family and my in-laws, and so we're all huddled down south. Yep. Anyway, the fire right now is at 9,500 hectares. That's based on the BC Wildfire website, which I brought up. That's a big fire, and you can see there's some photos that are available there as well. But it really is hard to comprehend how big a fire like this can get. And what is, for me, is reassuring is that BC Wildfire crews and all of the responding agencies, local fire departments, visiting fire departments, and many others, contractors, are good at fighting these fires and good at protecting property and more importantly than ever, saving lives. We have not heard here, I have not heard of any loss of life or anything like that. I think the most important thing in an emergency is you want to talk about protecting lives, and that's important. So that's why these evacuation orders happen. And I'm just looking for something that I have here I'm going to share with you. So I've got this on my wall, carry it with me, and it is the BSEMS response goals, the BC Emergency Management System. And it's basically a list of the key, the goals or the priorities. And number one is the safety and health of all responders. Because when there's a major fire, many of us are heading the other direction. If we're smart, we're not hanging out by that fire if there's an order in place or something, for example. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean, big fire, head the other way. First responders, just like RCMP and many others do, are heading toward the problem to try and stop it from causing further problems. So the BSEMS response goals are safety and the health of all responders. Second is to save lives, because if we can't keep the number one is the responders, because if they're not safe, now we're really in trouble. But saving lives, of course, is key. Reduce the suffering, and that's part of what emergency support services does, is try to help people through this. Protecting public health. Right now, the smoke that's out here, it's really challenging just to be outside, never mind worrying about a big fire. Protect critical infrastructure. We need our critical infrastructure, water, power, just to survive, sewer systems, or wastewater as we call it. Protect property. Certainly that's very important. Protecting the environment, also important, and reducing economic and social losses. So those are the BSEMS goals. Those are basically what emergency management personnel look to. But some of the considerations we as individuals and our families need to look to during instances like this is your family safe? And that's why it's difficult for me, because, I've got a family and I'm here, but and the other one is for our internal considerations is have we made sure that the public, that people, all of us included, know what's going on? Do we have the latest information? And I know that if you don't have the information you want, it can be really stressful. So I'm talking at length here, trying to give you different little pieces of information. But when I get new actual information, which I'm going to step out in just a moment and try and get, this is where we'll put it. We'll talk about it live here. We'll have some guests. We're going to have the mayor of Summerland on again. He'll be with, or I'm saying again, reminding you that he'll be with us at about 10:30. Get a sense of what he's been dealing with and what people might be looking at over the next several days and months as this as we recover from what is still a very ongoing active incident. And then again, media, and which reminds me, I think I have an interview that I have to do. Okay, I'm going to step out for just a moment. Stand by. And actually, this is going to be interactive behind the scenes here because I was asked to do an interview, and I'm looking now for the stand by for the link, and I don't see it. So, oh, there we go. Okay, so I'm going to try and join this link and do this interview, and we'll be with you in just a moment. And I may turn the mic on, I may not. I just want to see what I'm facing here. Just stand by. Oh, there we go. Hi there.
Hi there. How are you?
Good. Sorry for the delay.
No problem. Did you want to stick to Facebook or do you want to join Zoom?
I think this might be better.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, okay.
Can I get you to turn your phone sideways, please?
Oh, sorry.
Fires tear through the province. Okay. Yeah, and flopper down? Yeah. Game to Toronto was canceled after a child refused to be buckled in.
Is that okay?
Leaving passengers a little up the nose here. Have a seat, and then I'll try to fix you along the way.
Actually, you know what? My desk is up right now. She's like,
And as Canada, you need to hear this, okay?
Yeah.
We're getting a clearer pivot of what could be an impossible deal with just days to go before new tariffs are set to take effect. Oh, you know the whiteboard behind you?
yeah.
Plop me on the whiteboard. Oh, I'm Renee. I feel like you're a tall man, so it'd be a good
Oh.
height for you. And you have an adjustable chair.
It won't have to stay there.
We have new. Does the whiteboard have a ledge or
No,
no?
it doesn't.
Dramatic moments as evacuees escape the flames. This video shows a desperate race to get out of harm's way. As of late last
You have to
night,
hold it,
50
sorry.
people had to be airlifted. You know what? Put me against your window because when you hold it, it looks like you're in a mini earthquake. Nobody can hold it for like.
Yeah, I know. How's
And
that?
now the province has. You know what? I can make this work.
Okay,
Can you
sorry
shimmy
about that.
backwards? Yourself.
Pardon?
That brake light behind you. Can you turn it off? Entire community of Summerland. Thank you. Okay. People, sit back a little bit because you're very close to the camera. Evacuate. Back in nearby folder, one father recounts the story of his daughter's narrow escape. So you're hearing this, right?
Yeah.
Everything okay?
Yeah. I'm just on YouTube as well. I'm just going to let people know what I'm doing. I'm just doing a quick interview on CTV, so it's going to be kind of strange, but you might as well listen in. Can't hurt.
The fire that is threatening the area has spread incredibly quickly, and now. Okay, can I get you to look at the camera for a second? Scoot to your left. Deep underground. Too much. One small scoot. And very hot. They're engulfing entire trees, not just smoldering. Like one small scoot to your left again, and stop right there. There we go. Extremely aggressive and volatile. There is spot fires. We're going to get you out of this. And the anchor's name is Renee. As the fire progresses, it's absorbing those spot fires. But it is just moving very fast because of the conditions, because of the historical drought, and because of the wind right now as well. Agency officials call the situation and this been very dynamic and dangerous. With me now is Senior Manager of Communications for the Regional District of Okanagan-Similkameen Emergency Operations Center, Eric Thompson. Eric, thank you for being here. How serious is the situation in Summerland right now, and how quickly are things changing on the ground?
Well, it is very dynamic, and I just checked the BC Wildfire website, and the latest size, according to BC Wildfire, is 9,500 hectares. This fire grew incredibly quick. I lived in Summerland, and I'm now on evacuation order, like all of my neighbors and friends and family. And it was a trying time, and it still is, because people are out of their homes and they're wondering about their property. But the situation early this morning, actually, when the entire district went on an evacuation order, was certainly something that some people didn't expect, because there are areas that weren't even impacted by the fire, and then all of a sudden that situation changed very quickly. And I see the images you have right now. I've been in this location for the last several hours in the Emergency Operations Center, so I haven't actually seen that part of it. But at one point I had to leave to go to my own home and get my family out.
My goodness, have you heard of any properties being destroyed, anything like that?
Well, certainly anecdotally and on social media, there's lots of information out there about different situations. But I understand from being here in the Emergency Operations Center and hearing from BC Wildfire Services that because it's such a dynamic situation, any confirmation and official information about damage to infrastructure, damage to properties, that type of thing will be made available as soon as it's possible. But the assessments where it's safe are underway. But the fire, because it's still so very active, the real challenge now is to make sure that the damage is mitigated, that the where the fire is going is monitored, and really just continue to do more of the same, which is try to fight what is a very massive wildfire. And I want to assure people that are watching that these crews, all of them, we've got local fire departments working with BC Wildfire and contractors, but then also the people working behind the scenes in emergency support services. They're all very well trained, and they're going to make sure that we get through this, and they'll be strong for everyone who needs them to be.
Yeah, you talk about this fire. How challenging has it been to respond as it's moving and growing so quickly?
Well, I think that's one of the key parts of all of this is it's the unknown. You don't know where it's going. At one point, as I said, I was here in Penticton, which is about 10-15 minutes south of where the district of Summerland is. And for the most part, certain areas looked fine until they weren't. And when the recommendation was put in place to put the entire district on an evacuation order, I was surprised, but I understand why. And it's out of an abundance of caution. It's safety. We've seen these situations happen, and there is a location you recall yourself in California where bad things happen to a town. So if you don't take those lessons and you don't take the key steps to get people out, then you're putting lives at risk. And so evacuating the entire district of Summerland was an important thing to do.
And I can imagine the challenges, because even some residents had to be airlifted. How difficult was that? And for it to get to the point where residents had to be airlifted, what were the circumstances surrounding that?
Well, I can't speak specifically to it, but what I understand is that region, I know that area fairly well. It's on the outskirts of the district of Summerland, roughly in the Falder area. And what I've heard here is that there were about 55 people who had to be rescued. And that's because when these fires move fast and all of a sudden your exit routes are compromised, you're not able to get through the road. This is the type of thing that has to happen. And the fact that it ended with everyone being airlifted out and taken to safety, and then their families came and picked them up is really important. We're live on YouTube, and actually, right behind me, that's what we're doing there, is live streaming, trying to get real-time information out. And a lot of the comments we're getting from people are touching on some of those harrowing situations. And from my perspective, I can't confirm exactly what's happened, but anecdotally, I'm hearing of a lot of different situations where people were scared and they managed to get to safety, and that's why these ESS reception centers, emergency support services, reception centers are set up to help people and get them through what could be a long road to recovery.
What are the biggest concerns right now?
Well, right now it really is where the fire is going to go. That's one of the big concerns, but also protecting infrastructure and assessing infrastructure, water, wastewater, power, those types of things, looking at what the damage is. Earlier I was speaking with Graham Statt, who is the Chief Administrative Officer, the CAO of Summerland, and he's been involved in different emergencies before in Alberta. He was talking about the fact that what we really need to focus on now is this won't be a quick fix. I'm on evacuation order and I don't see the fire near my home on the map, but that doesn't mean that it's safe to go home if there are crews in the area, if there's no water, if there's no power. And in areas that were more heavily impacted, getting people in is a process, and it takes time, and safety is the key. So people do have to be patient, but they have to understand that it's a long game, and not a game, of course, but it's a long haul that you're dealing with. It won't be immediate, and patience is going to be the key. And again, information, and this is, again, I've said this before, media have been very, very helpful in getting as much information out as possible so people know where it's at any given moment. And I think we're all used to getting immediate information now because of social media, but it's important to make sure that it's verified.
That is very true. Well, wishing certainly everybody in BC all the best, especially the people who have been forced out of their homes due to the danger of fire. Sir, thank you very much for your time today. It is much appreciated.
Thank you, Renee. I appreciate it.
That is Senior Manager of Communications with the Regional District of Okanagan-Similkameen Emergency Operations Center, Eric Thompson. Well, are you clear? Thank you very much for your time. Have a good day.
Thank
Bye.
you, you too.
Dangerous man near a mall.
Okay. Where are we at now? Okay, so that was a CTV interview. It's difficult to put into words what the situation is for people who are more directly impacted than I am. But again, we're going to be live here on YouTube for the next while. We'll have the Mayor of Summerland, Doug Holmes, on shortly to talk a bit more about what the situation's been like for him, and just looking at that, as I said just now in that interview, at the longer haul of all of this. What does it mean? When can we get home? What happens when we get home? How do we recover? You know, people who've been heavily impacted, their property has been impacted. There will be a lot of questions and there will be a lot of support. The Regional District of Okanagan-Similkameen operates a regional emergency program, and a big part of that program is not only preparedness and response, working with agencies like BC Wildfire and fire departments, but recovery. Recovery is where a lot of the real work happens to make sure that people are getting what they need to rebuild their lives, and that is a process. I'm going to take a short break. I'm going to step out for just about 5 minutes or so. So right now it's 10:10 Pacific time here in the city of Penticton. And again, my name is Eric Thompson. I'm the information officer with the Emergency Operations Center. So I'm going to take a short break and try and get a bit more information here at the Emergency Operations Center, what else that I can find. And then again, about 10:30 or so, we'll be back with the Mayor of the District of Summerland, Doug Holmes. We'll see you shortly. Thank you for your patience as I step out for a few minutes. All right. Thanks again for your patience. Thanks again for your patience. As I mentioned earlier, if you just joined us here, my name is Eric Thompson. I'm the information officer, one of the information officers with the Regional District of Okanagan-Similkameen Emergency Operations Center. We are a regional emergency operations center, so working directly with partners, including the District of Summerland. So information about this wildfire that we're dealing with, as far as evacuation alerts and orders, ESS support, emergency support services, you'll find that through the RDOS, and then of course the lead agency on the fire itself is BC Wildfire. So anything about the fire would come from BC Wildfire. I have been asked to do a short interview at 11 o'clock with Global, so I need to just quickly set that up. I am trying to multitask here, so I'm going to try to do that while we talk, or while I talk. But I did receive some information. This came from the city of Penticton. So the city of Penticton is working with the RDOS. They're taking the lead on emergency support services, which means setting up and running or continuing to operate the reception center. So evacuation orders and alerts issued by the Regional District of Okanagan-Similkameen and the District of Summerland on August 7th and August 8th, that was early in the morning, for areas of the Summerland and Electoral Area F. This is because of the due to the Bald Range wildfire. That's K51490. It remains an evolving situation, and information and links will be updated as they become available. The city of Penticton has activated its emergency operations center as well, serving to as a host community for evacuees. So our emergency operations center, where I am right now, is located in the city of Penticton, and the city of Penticton is the host community for emergency support services. Food is being provided, and for people who are evacuees who need some support. And Alert, the Animal Lifeline Emergency Response Team, is also involved. They help with animals and taking care of them, pet support during these incidents. Emergency support services. If you are looking for some information, you can self-register by calling this number, 1-800-387-4258. I'm going to put that in the chat. Again, that is 1-800-387. That's the number for emergency support services, 4258. Let's double check that. 1-800-387-4258. The reception center continues to be open at the Penticton Trade and Convention Center. That's located at 273 Power Street. If you are in need of help and you want to go to the reception center directly, that's where it is. And then the Penticton Community Center will be open until 6 o'clock today. That's August 8th, providing free showers, washrooms, and they also have a kids' play zone. So if you're out of your home and you have a family and you want to go somewhere, the Penticton Community Center is open until 6 o'clock. Again, that's August 8th when we're recording this, and they have some showers available, some washrooms, as well as an area for kids as well. And donations are not being accepted at the ESS reception center. That's very important to take note of. And food and essential services are being provided to evacuees. Donations may be directed to some local charitable organizations and thrift shops. And again, we had heard earlier from the director for Electoral Area F that the Community Foundation of South Okanagan is collecting donations as well. So we have the video updates, as you know, here on YouTube. We'll stay live throughout the day. We will be bringing in the mayor of Summerland a little bit later on, Doug Holmes. He should be here shortly. And someone's asking about the wind direction. I don't often speak to the weather because I don't have the specifics on that, but I would highly recommend going to the Environment and Climate Change Canada to find out more about the specifics, because it is changing. I did hear earlier that there were some light winds. They do tend to pick up later in the day around dinner time and later in the evening in this particular region based on our geography and where we are. But I haven't heard a lot about that, so I can't really speak knowledgeably to it. So this is a working broadcast, we'll call it, where I am trying to share information in real time while also doing some media interviews and still trying to do my other job, which is to coordinate and talk to my colleagues. So it's a bit of a work in progress here. And let's see here, about half an hour, we'll be talking live to Global One, BC One rather. And I'll probably do what I did last time, is just leave it up here, and probably not great TV or YouTube, but rather than just turn the mic off and you see me sitting here talking to myself. What I'm doing right now is trying to set up this Zoom link with Global. So I'm multitasking. You know, I'm getting all these texts and emails from people, from media asking questions, from friends across the country and other places, and I think people want to know if I'm okay, if we're okay. Many people in this community in Summerland and Electoral Area F, the regional, this area, have been impacted far more than me and my family. But as a community, as a region, just one second, sorry. As a region, this is a trying time. It's a very difficult time, but it's important that we all stay strong, and we know that there are people who are trained and who are compassionate and who are hardworking and dedicated, who are working to keep this fire from causing any more damage, certainly to protect life, and then to make people comfortable. Volunteers like the Emergency Support Services volunteers are there 24 hours a day, helping people, making sure that they get what they need, which is, some people just might need a place to stay, they might need some food, they might need clothing. And Emergency Support Services has been really good about doing that, and some community groups as well. Someone's talking about Penticton being evacuated. Don't know about that, and I think again, in our comments section, if people don't have verified information, probably best not to share it here. Any information about any evacuations will be coming directly from the Emergency Operations Center. And I sometimes wonder about people who want to do stuff like that, put things on that they don't know about for sure. So let's not do that in this forum. This forum really is to provide as much real-time information for people who need it, people who are out of their homes, who are looking for support, looking for information. And it's not a good forum in the comments there to share information that's not verified. So again, I am in the process of setting up an interview here with Global One, BC One, for 11 o'clock. So that's why I'm clicking away here, trying to figure this out, make sure I can actually get into Zoom. And I think I can. Let's see here. Oh, here we go. Any other questions that I can possibly answer? Move that out. No. This these comments about federal government and stuff, go somewhere else. How about that? I don't think this is a good forum for that. Go to Facebook or somewhere not to do with the RDOS or the City of Penticton or Summerland. This isn't the forum to talk about that. Okay, let's do a reset. In the description for this video, I have put some links that you can find or that you can access for important information about, oh, it's muted. Oh, anyway, sorry. The links to a bunch of different sites that are important, but one of them for key information about this incident on behalf of the RDOS and Summerland, you can go to rdos.bc.ca. And on that site, we have, we'll be posting the latest information. So I'm going to go there now so you can, oops. Nope, wrong one, sorry. I'm just trying to bring it up so that you can take a look at what's going on right now. A lot of windows open here. Yeah, the RDOS website has the latest information that is available on this situation. And again, it's pretty dynamic. We're in the process of just updating our website. There we go. So thanks to my colleagues for doing that. So there you see the latest updates. So you can get information at emergency.rdos.bc.ca, or you can go to the interactive map as well. I'm just going to step out for 1 minute and just chat with my colleagues, and I will be back in just a moment. All right, I'm back again and looking for any new information. I haven't received any, but I do know the last I had heard was that Highway 97 was closed between Penticton and Peachland. So I'm going to take a quick look on here and see if I can find it. So drivebc.ca is the place to go to get the latest information on roads and any incidents in the area. So we'll see if we can find anything. So it looks as though that section is closed between just north of Penticton, right through Summerland, just before Peachland. So that is the section closed. And if we look at the map, the interactive map, you can see why. So that fire, the evacuate, that's the time to prepare in case the situation changes and an evacuation order is put in place. And also for people living south of both of these areas, the alert and order, and that was St. Pinkton Indian Band, the Penticton Indian Band IR is south of there. So keeping an eye on what the fire is doing, monitoring official sources, including the local IB and the RDOS EOC as well. So keeping an eye on these official channels to see if conditions have changed. Really important to do what you can when you're in proximity to something like this to be prepared. And I know I found out at about 1 o'clock this morning when I had to leave here to go home, gather things, try to be coherent on what I was taking and why, and then go to another location. It's an odd thing to do, but I can tell you that the more prepared you are in advance, the less stressful it is. It really makes a big difference. Even if you feel like, it probably won't come to where I'm at. If it's in the region, the winds change, conditions change. It's good to be prepared. I think it's also an important reminder to not, we don't want to scare people and have people feel like the sky is falling. I mean, a serious incident is occurring, a serious wildfire. Protecting life safety is really a key in all of this, and that's what we really want to focus on, is how can we support each other, how can we be prepared ourselves, what do we need to do, and maybe it's day by day, but what can we do to get through this. So in just a few minutes we're going to hear from the mayor of Summerland, the district of Summerland, Doug Holmes, who I've known for many years and is dealing with some trying times now as well. He's also on evacuation order, and a lot of people are looking to local government, both elected and staff, to give them information, to reassure them, to let them know that work is being done to keep people safe. And there's only so much you can say, but information is key during an incident like this. So that's why we're live on YouTube, to just continue the conversation, maybe a sense of community, if nothing else. But also when information does change, it's important we can get it out right away. So I wanted to direct you back to the website again as well. And I think the key is to keep an eye on that website. You'll see, if you can look on the screen there, the hot topics is where new information will be posted as far as an information release. So there isn't a lot of new information at this point. The latest information release came out at 3 a.m, but that's just simply because all of the information is still relevant. There's an evacuation order for the entire district of Summerland, and then there is for the regional district, Electoral Area F, parts of it, there is an evacuation alert, as you see, and an order as well. I don't have the exact numbers offhand, and that is actually something I meant to go and talk to my colleagues in the EOC, the Emergency Operations Centers, about getting a sense of how many properties are still on order and alert in both the district of Summerland and the regional district. And then also how many properties we know may be impacted potentially, but there's assessments going on, and specific numbers will be hard to come by. So I think with that, I am going to take a very short break and go out and see if I can get a bit more information. I'm looking at the comments here, and I noticed someone's talking about Drive BC, and it is important to check Drive BC for alternate routes like the 201 Forest Service Road. So if you're not familiar with this area, if you look at this map here, I have to go back to the map just 1 second. The area map, I've got so many windows open here. Here it is. The area map shows you the lake. And if you go all the way through Penticton and then up and around by Naramata, there is a Forest Service road. It's called the 201 Forest Service Road. And during emergencies, people have often used that road as a backup. It's not meant for a lot of traffic, and I don't know the latest. I haven't heard the latest on how accessible it is at the moment, but that's one route that people have taken. A couple of years ago, I had to go up to Salmon Arm when the slide was on, and I ended up going through all the way to Princeton, up to Aspen Grove, down the connector and back, and that was quite a long route. But people who are trying to get north have a couple of options, and they probably know what they are. But check Drive BC. Drive BC is the official source for information on roads and highways. Okay, I will take a short break there. Someone is reminding us here that Highway 97 is closed from Summerland to Peachland, and they're asking about how to get to Highway 33. Well, you'd have to take an alternate route, of course. And from my understanding, Highway 33, you'd be heading possibly south all the way down in a very roundabout way. But Drive BC, don't guess. And just 1 second, I'm just going to take this call here. Stand by for just 1 second, please. Hello again. Thanks for your patience as I step out to go and try and get more information. I didn't get a lot of information. I did hear earlier, though, if you've just joined us, that Peach Fest has been canceled. Peach Fest, if you're not from this area, is an annual event. It's a phenomenal community event with live music and entertainment throughout the day and into the evening. And unfortunately, it has had to be canceled for today for sure. I haven't heard about tomorrow, but I do know that it's canceled for today. And that is a loss to the community because people really do look forward to some of these bands. Trooper is one of the bands. Biff Naked played, and Madeline Merlot, and it's really been a huge community event over the years, and the fact that it's free for families is amazing. So certainly not great that it's been canceled, but I can see why, not only because of what's going on with this wildfire, but because of the smoke in this area still blanketing the region. The mayor of Summerland will be with us shortly. I'm going to just quickly check here. So just 1 second. I'm just reading an email I got. So someone's asking me to provide accurate and detailed yet easy to read maps. Okay. That's good to know. I appreciate that feedback. So when the media, I just got an email here. The media, someone's talking about when the media are covering this, we should provide them with easy and accurate maps, easy to follow. Okay, noted. The map that I've been showing, the interactive map, doesn't look amazing, but it is functional. This one here. You can zoom in on it. You can find out exactly what areas are under evacuation order and alert. And then the BC wildfire map shows a bit more detail as well. I did have a chance just a few moments ago to speak with a representative of BC Wildfire to confirm their role as far as communications. So normally during an incident like this, someone like myself, one of the information officers, would connect with BC Wildfire's representative for information and make sure that we have accurate information going out, making sure that we clarify who's speaking on behalf of which jurisdiction and municipality and partner, that kind of thing. And for me, it's very clear that I certainly do not speak on behalf of BC Wildfire, but going to their website with you is basically the same as you going there. So I'm just reiterating what you can find on the website. But we will work to get an interview with BC Wildfire a little bit later on in the day as the situation unfolds. And that's always really helpful during these incidents to have BC Wildfire talk more about the operational part of it. Where is the fire? What's being done? And that type of thing. It's very difficult, of course, from my perspective, because I don't have that information, and it's not my story to tell. But when we can get BC Wildfire in to talk about it, it can really help illuminate what's going on in the area. And with that, I really hope that a little bit later on today I can step out, take a short break, and visit the emergency reception center, because I find during an emergency when I'm here talking a lot, you're not out where things are happening, and I'm certainly not going to go to where the fire is because I'm not able to. Oh, there we go. But being in a reception center and getting to talk to people can really be helpful. I'm going to pause for just a moment because I've got Global on the line. Hi, Global. How are you? Good. Can you hear me okay? Oh, I'm seeing your show, and let's see here. You know what? I'm on YouTube right now. I wonder if that's why. I might have to use, can we use the phone? Yeah, I think we might need to, because I'm on YouTube. And for those of you watching on YouTube right now, I'm just going to turn the microphone off and pause for a moment. We're going to have to just take a short break while I do this with Global. So stand by.